Hey all! I hope you guys are having a good day so far. Uh, you don't know me, and that's okay. My name's Jeremy, and I've decided to start a blog of sorts. And what better place to upload my chronicles of life than here, right? Well, I hope I've made the right decision. And I suppose I should get introductions out of the way. I'm your typical college student, hoping to get a degree in a field I'll likely never approach in my career. You know, the usual. I figured I'd save a bit of cash and register for courses at my local community college, and that seems to have been the right move. Now I'm riding my way through school on grant money and loads of coffee. Sounds fun, right? Well, I used to romanticize college life back in the day. I'd picture myself as a kid living on campus, attending parties, finding the love of my life, fueled by ramen and espresso. I would stay up late at night studying, followed by a session of gaming with my pals. And needless to say, this idealized version of higher education is far removed from my current reality. Let's just say. I mean, shit, I hardly even know what my campus looks like. I take all of my classes virtually, which entails that I sit behind at a computer screen for hours, listening to the droning voice of my instructors as they give their lectures. If you ask me, it's a total drag. I knew I should have taken a gap year. And really, I find it ironic how as children we can't wait to grow up. I mean, when we look at adults, we see these big, strong people who can do as they please. They can eat what they want, sleep when they want, and seem to have many privileges in comparison to their adolescent counterparts. And this naivete dissipates, however, as the burden of responsibility sets upon us all with the passage of time. I mean, I've come to miss the freedom I once had as a kid, if I'm being honest. But luckily, I've kept a few of my treasured items from the past. Earlier today, I looked through my attic, and I found them. You know, tucked in the corner of the room sat a few cardboard boxes. So I took them downstairs and traced my hand along the dusty surface before opening the flaps and peeking inside. I don't know, savoring the memories, I guess. I sifted through a pile of clothes that I used to wear. Pressing an old shirt against my chest, I chuckled at how small I used to be. Tossing it aside, I continued rummaging through the various items in the box. Near the bottom sat a black digital camera, and lifting it up, I inspected its surface. It, just like everything else in the box, hadn't been touched in, years, I would guess. My curiosity had been sparked, and after swapping out its batteries, I looked through the images it held. And a photograph is like putting time inside of a bottle. We capture a moment and store it, and can view that moment years down the road. As humans, our memory can fail us. But a photograph will always present things exactly as they were. Isn't it such a cool concept? I grinned ear to ear as I saw the small child that I used to be. There must have been dozens of photos of me in that little device. A flood of memories came back whilst I viewed the images. One photo depicted me swimming in a lake located just a few miles away from my childhood home. Another showed me grinning with glee as I swung on a tire bound to a rope to a tree. Right. I remember. That tire swing was on the playground at my former elementary school. I must have spent quite some time reminiscing, till I stumbled upon an odd photo though. I mean, there I was, just standing there. I looked as disinterested as could be, though. Rather than carrying my typical smile, I held a frown on my face. And I wouldn't have thought much of it had the next few photos not been equally as strange. Between them all, the expression on my face remained consistent. And finally, as I neared the end of the camera roll, I stumbled upon a photo of another child. Although I couldn't recognize him, a sense of familiarity washed over me when I viewed the image. I knew that I'd seen his face somewhere before. His bright blonde hair and pearly white smile stood in stark contrast with my brooding appearance just a few photos back. There weren't many notable photos following that one. So, I put the camera away and continued my nostalgia trip. I remember my heart skipping a beat as I found the white pouch slouched against the edge of the box. I hastily picked it up and unzipped it. And slipping my hand inside, I pulled out the blue Nintendo DS, a DSi in particular, actually, and stared at it in awe. Grabbing the power cord and plugging it into the wall, I connected it to my DS and pressed the power button. My eyes sparkled with glee as the screen lit up and displayed the signature Nintendo DS logo, before promptly taking me to the home screen. And if you're a 2000s kid, you know how fun these things were. Hell, I bet we all share memories of staying up late, watching the faint glow of the screen as we played our favorite games. I fiddled around with the keypad a bit, scrolling through the page, observing the applications, and noticing that there were no games displayed on the home screen. I turned the device around and glanced at the back. To my luck, there was no game cartridge plugged in. Frustrated, I sighed and set the DS down, ready to explore the box further. That is until I got the idea to look deeper into the white bag itself. And upon further inspection, I realized that it did indeed hold a single game within it. The chip lacked any art or title, so I couldn't tell what exactly the game was, but shrugging, I pushed it into the cartridge holder of the DS until I heard a click. And finally, I was presented with the game on the home screen. The title read, Township Village. Holy shit. My jaw dropped as soon as I read the title. It had been years since I even thought about that game, let alone played it. I clicked on the application instantly, waiting as the game loaded. And finally, I was presented with the title screen, as well as the old save files contained within the game. For those who don't know, this game closely resembles the Animal Crossing franchise. You get to build and maintain towns in a fantasy world. But once the game loaded, I was spawned inside of a house. A header at the top of the screen swung down. The words, Darth_Jeremy's house, inscribed into it. I hung my head down, cringing. Ugh, the glory of a child's imagination. Am I right? Nevertheless, I looked around the room that I was in. I seriously lacked any sense of home decor as a child. Paintings were framed all across the walls of the room, giving it the appearance of a cluttered mess. I made my way over to the dresser near my bed, clicked on it, causing the drawer to open and revealing a stash of items inside. An apple, a magnet, 50 gold, and a journal all laid within the drawer. I selected them all and put them in the character's pouch. And opening my inventory, I scrolled down and selected the journal. Right, So one of the primary mechanics of the game is the ability to jot down notes in these in-game journals. I'd totally forgotten about that. I was giddy to read through the ramblings of a kid without a care in the world. I played with Mr. O today, one of the notes read. I showed him my drawings from school, and he really liked them. He said I did a good job, and even gave me a cookie. He told me he would love to see my drawings I do next. Mr. O. Maybe he was an old teacher of mine? I couldn't remember. So I shrugged and exited the journal. Leaving my room and making my way downstairs, I traversed the rest of the house, inspecting each area that I came across. Eventually, I found the second bedroom of the house, and as I entered, another header dropped down from the top of the screen, displaying the words, Mr. O's room. I paused, and inside stood another character. He towered over me, and he turned to face me as I entered. His head lacked hair. He was dressed in a plain white tee and blue jeans. And resuming, I approached him. A large grin adorned his unmoving face, and deciding to chat with him, I clicked on his character. But he said nothing. The rest of his area was barren, save for a single door at the opposite end of the room. I entered it, revealing a bathroom. A silhouette stood in the tub, behind the shower curtain. Approaching it, I pulled back the curtain to reveal a second Mr. O, simply standing there and sporting his same smile. Once more, I clicked on his character to open his dialogue. He merely said, "Don't forget to scrub your back," and nothing more. His eyes watched me closely, seemingly following me, no matter where I was in relation to him. I opted to close the shower curtain and exit the room. I admit it, it was weird as shit for him to be in there. Then again, it wouldn't be implausible for me to have placed him there as some kind of a gag as a kid. You know how stupid and random a child's humor can be, alright? But still, I couldn't seem to recall who he was. It took me a bit more searching to figure out why that character was in my house. An in-game computer sat at the dining room table, and inspecting it revealed a character creation option. I was able to create and insert characters into my world as I pleased. And selecting the character creation option revealed that I had only created Mr. O. It was just him and I in this world, alone. Exiting the computer and turning around, I was shocked to see Mr. O standing behind me, mere pixels away from my character. As I backed away, his body stayed perfectly still, only moving his head to keep his watchful gaze fixated upon me. I stepped out of my house, proceeding to roam around the town, and after that, not a single soul was in sight. I followed the dirt trail through the town until I reached a house on the edge of the woods, and every house up to that point had been empty. But I figured it wouldn't be too much trouble to search through one more, I thought. As I entered, I was surprised to discover that it was filled with furniture and appliances. Even more shocking, however, was that I found the home to be fully occupied. A familiar man stood in every corner of the house, watching me. What the fuck? Who was this guy? I couldn't remember for the life of me. I made my way around the house anyway, exploring the various drawers and cupboards sitting around. And in one cupboard, it sat a journal. I placed it in my inventory once more and opened it. Remember, Jeremy, It's just you and me here. Love, Mr. O. That didn't seem consistent with my writing style as a kid. I'm still not sure what to make of it. I set my DS aside and got up, a sense of confusion washing over me. I'd expected to find the incoherent ramblings of a kid in those journals, and instead I was greeted with rather ominous notes left about in a desolate world. Well, an almost desolate world. So I decided to simply shove my confusion to the back of my mind and continue to go through the box. I was ecstatic to find a bunch of my old drawings, actually. My artistic ability hasn't developed past making stick figures, but, hey, I was just a kid. Every crude drawing I found elicited a smirk from me. Though I did find one in particular that stood out from the rest. I had drawn myself holding hands with a man. He was tall, and had scribbled a pair of blue jeans and a white tee over his figure. A large smile had been plastered across his face. It was him, all right. Maybe Mr. O was an imaginary friend of mine? I really don't have another explanation for it. Though it is strange that I can't seem to recall him, nor can I remember writing those notes down in my game. I'll have to ask my mother about him when she gets home from work this evening. Maybe she'll know what this is all about. Oh, right, and that kid in the photograph. I'll have to ask her about him too. I'll be sure to write to you all again after I chat with her about it. Until then, you guys take care.